Yo, what's going on? So I was thinking about the zulrah nerf, and that reminded me about double death runes being added into the game. And I don't know about you, but whenever something like that happens, I love looking at the graphs and seeing how it affected the game and the economy. I don't flip or merch or do any of that, and I've tried it on and off a while ago in the past, but I've never made enough profit off it to make it worthwhile in my head. Or I just wasn't committed enough. Prices are constantly changing, which for me makes it tough to keep up with so many items. I'm not trying to have you merch anything, I honestly just enjoy looking at the charts and trends. I guess that is what a mercher would do, but it's just like playing the stock market. Any major news, or in this case updates, could potentially crash an item or make it increase exponentially. A good example of this that I'm sure you all know about would be the zul-andra teleports. And you can look at the 6 months graph right here, and if you look at the date here, I'm not sure exactly what it was. I'm sure if you look up an update or something, there's something that affected it that made it rise up. Maybe it was some drop table thing or something. And then you could see it slowly went back down. And here's the update from a few days ago, and you can see they're crashing once again. I also think it's really interesting to look at the amount traded. It's a good way to tell when people were panic buying and selling. If there weren't a lot traded, then most likely a lot of people were panic selling and no one was buying. And that would make the price go down and likely result in a low amount traded for that day. After Zulrah got nerfed, there were more teleport scrolls traded that day than in any other single day from the previous 6 months, which makes it seem like chaos. Everyone panic selling and panic buying. And there's so many factors to take into consideration though. Maybe a bunch of people had lowball offers sitting in their GE for weeks, and they finally went through overnight because the players hadn't logged in to see the update or something. That's just one very specific example. And I know there's so many other factors and variables that go into it as well, but I'm no economist, so this is just what I've logically concluded in my head. So now let's get back to the death runes to look at a very basic example of how an update will affect an item's chart. And this is very obvious. There's more death runes being made, and the price will go down. And we can look at the amount traded, and we'll find the day. May 18th was the day double death runes were released. And it looks like a lot of people were making them that day. And then the second day, there were not very many traded. So again, it could be the panic buying, panic selling. And it looks like it blew over the day after that because there were 54 million death runes traded. Let's go ahead and switch this to the 6 month graph. And that day, there were more death runes traded than the previous 6 months in any single day. There were so many death runes made, and every player wanted to make as much off that method as they could before the death runes crashed. And I want to say that the massive amount of runes traded is what caused the price to go down, but looking at a few days later, it went from 55 million runes traded to not even 1 million runes traded. And we'll go back up to the prices. You would expect a jip to go up or something, but no, just a straight line down. And what's the reason for this? I have no clue. So we can all come up with our own conclusions. I'm just going to say the website glitched and leave it at that. Now let's go over a very basic indirect effect of the update by taking a look at nature runes. Death runes took the place of natures as the best profit from runecrafting. So now the nature runecrafters will be crafting death runes, causing nature runes to shoot up due to a lower supply, right? Wrong. This is an example of how it can be very difficult to predict the market. And this could be due to an infinite number of reasons, one of them being the high alch prices. Nature runes will always have to have a somewhat stable price due to how it affects literally almost every item in the game. Looking at the amount traded, there was a huge amount traded right after the update, and again, on the same day as death runes, under 1 million traded. I just noticed that was a Wednesday, so it's possible everyone was just holding their breaths to see a possible nerf to runecrafting the next day for update Thursday. And there was a nerf alright, probably not the one any of us were expecting. The next item we have is the death tiara, and you would expect it to go up, but nope, it's just been going down for the last 6 months straight. We'll go to the amount traded, and even when the update first came out on the 18th, it wasn't a huge jump. And then again, only 2 sold for that day. What I'm going to assume happened here is that people were done with zulrah after the nerf and saw double death runecrafting as the next best moneymaker in the game. Another very popular runecrafting item, 1-dose stamina potions. These are very useful for runecrafters because they can just drop it after they bank and not have to spend extra time banking and not wasting extra doses that way. And the price stayed relatively stable throughout this time, But when the update happened, on the 18th, there were a lot more sold than any other day. I could easily keep going on for hours and hours speculating about different items and why they rise or fall, and the sad part is most of the time we'll never truly know why. There's so many unique items and factors that come from so many different sources. If you get a couple minutes, just look up some random items for yourself. Check out when they were a lot traded, when they spiked, when they crashed. You can learn a lot about the market from making predictions and checking your answers afterwards. It's pretty fun to come up with your own speculations. The economy is huge, and it's amazing how everything balances out perfectly in the end. I hope I was able to inspire you in some way. That's all I'm going to ramble about for now, though, so thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.